找死啊！
我只问一遍。
We kick things off with some information about a desert, which is a forbidden place filled with all kinds of unwanted people. That's when we learn about escorts who protect targets and complete bounties for a living. Now, we meet Dao Ma, who is an escort and finds a target. He offers to keep quiet about his presence in exchange for double the bounty, but then his son Xiao Kai shows up and asks for 3 times the bounty. This angers the target, so he decides to attack our heroes with his team of 8 men. Things are about to get interesting as the goons taunt Dao Ma, but then he gives them a taste of his fighting skills by slashing through all the goons in a matter of seconds. Xiao Kai is made to close his eyes and count till 10. But Dao Ma finishes everyone off before he's done. The target finally gives him a massive bounty in exchange for his life, and then the duo heads off into the storm. We learn that they need to repay a man named Mo, which is why Dao Ma keeps taking escort missions. We learn about how the duo met Mo and Dao Ma starts to talk about cannibal, but Xiao Kai passes out before that. The next day, our heroes find an entire army of dead bodies which was ended by some demonic monsters. Dao Ma finds a nice sword and decides to take it with him for security reasons. They find an old man with his injured boy who wants help. Basically, they were attacked by Rakshasa's monsters and Dao Ma asks for 300 coins. However, he learns there's a bounty of 6,000 coins on a double-headed snake man that these two are pursing, so he changes his mind. Now, we see Mo bargaining with a slave trader and his daughter Ayuya loses her mind. She's about to end the slave trader, but is stopped by Dao Ma. After a brief reunion, everyone gets to work on helping the injured boy, but he's been bitten badly. After a brief assessment, the healing begins and the old man explains that the snake man had killed the injured boy's dad. Dao Ma makes an offer to bring the snake man's head in exchange for the 6,000 coins. Later, Dao Ma and Mo discuss the snake man and learn about a distinguishing mark on his waist. Mo discloses the location of the snake man but tells Dao Ma he doesn't need to do this, as friends don't keep debts between them. Even so, Dao Ma sets out on his journey because that's how he is. Now, we see the target man from earlier bragging about how he took down 17 men all by himself. He's only doing this to recruit a young boy named Ali into his gang, but then his session gets interrupted when Dao Ma shows up. He's welcomed as a guest, but says he's here to find a wanted man. Seeing him makes the target man scared like a chicken, so he immediately surrenders all his belongings to our hero. Ali mocks the coward for being a liar, and then he offers to carry all of Dao Ma's belongings to his room. That's when our hero reveals that he's looking for the snake man who has a snake tattoo on his waist. It bothers the lady of the inn, and then she talks to her husband about the high water prices. They are in financial need, so the husband decides to ask for more favors from his boss Chang. But Ali shows up and scolds his father for getting into more trouble. As he continues to quarrel with his dad, we see Dao Ma deciding to check out the hot springs for more clues. He leaves Xiao Kai at the inn and heads into the hot springs but finds a bunch of suspicious men. They don't want him here and even attack him, but our hero takes all of them down in a thrilling and action-packed sequence. After he successfully dominates all the men at the spring, Dao Ma finds a giant man, revealed to be Chang, who confronts him for his actions. Meanwhile, Ali and Xiao Kai talk about their parents and bond with each other. Ali doesn't like the fact that his father has to beg for money, so he decides to join Dao Ma as his disciple. Now, we see Dao Ma talking to Chang, whose adopted son gets jealous of the attention he's getting. Dao Ma is asked to join Chang and his men, but he refuses and walks away. After that, the father tells Dao Ma that he is the double-headed snake he's been looking for, and tries to get him to take his head in exchange for half the bounty for his family. However, our hero strikes him down, proving that he doesn't have the instincts of the double-headed snake and is only doing this to get the necessary money for his family. Our hero comes back to the inn and Ali asks Dao Ma to take him in as a disciple, but he refuses the offer and takes Xiao Kai to their room. Ali is upset with his dad for not being able to sort their finances, but then Chang's adopted son suddenly shows up and threatens to take away the inn if the family doesn't pay their taxes. The son is ruthless and brings an army to take the family away. These goons attack Dao Ma upstairs as well, but he instantly defeats them all while Xiao Kai counts till 10. Now, the son tells the family that the Chang Gairan family wants to turn their inn into a post station. This means that there's no hope for the family even if they pay their dues. Despite their begging, the wife and Ali are about to get killed by one of the goons. That's when the father activates rage mode and takes down all the goons with his impressive sword skills. This means that he actually is the double-headed snake and all that he said earlier was the truth. Dao Ma arrives and then Snake tells him to take him up on his earlier offer. However, before they can continue their negotiations, Chang shows up and traps Snake. Dao Ma challenges Chang and his beliefs, so he offers to hang his own son for misbehaving with the family, even though he's adopted. Snake is also about to be hanged, so Eli asks Dao Ma for help. He ignores the request at first because he's an escort, but changes his mind after seeing Eli desperately trying to save his father in an emotionally charged moment. That's when both Dao Ma and Snake get into a fierce battle with Chang's men. Both fighters spare no one as they use all their best moves and end everyone with ease. Chang is the only one who's left, so both fighters attack him with all they've got because he's extremely overpowered. Unfortunately, Snake gets fatally wounded in the process, so Dao Ma has to finish off Chang all by himself. Eli is saddened by his father's demise, but Dao Ma chooses not to take Snake's head and gives the family some money to carry on. Now, we see Wai Shai telling Dai Ting about Dao Ma, who needs to be brought to justice because of what he's done to Chang. This brings back memories for Dai Ting as his cavalry was taken down because of him. The scene shifts to our hero, who is being chased by a fleet of assassins. There's a huge bounty on his head, and the chase becomes intense, especially with the horse starting to tire down. Luckily, Ayuda comes to his rescue and defeats the assassins with her army's arrows. She then takes our heroes to Mo, who has a guest for him. This person is a masked man named Jai. He starts to walk Dao Ma through his past, and this angers our hero, so he attacks him. Jai says that he's on Dao Ma's side and asks him to safely escort him to Chang. Dao Ma agrees to it because of the bounty, but Mo issues a fair warning at night. Regardless, our hero is up to the task and sets out the next day. Ayuya also joins the journey, so Mo is counting on Dao Ma to keep her safe. Meanwhile, we see a couple of generals begging their King Yang to listen to their requests. However, he simply tells his assistant Pei to set his white tiger loose on them and witnesses the bloodbath. After this, we learn that Shai is a wanted man to Yang, and he wants him dead. We also see that Yang is a dragon man as he reveals his true form to Pei briefly. In the dusty desert with heat lingering everywhere, Shai asks for some rest, but Dao Ma tells him not to complain. Zhu wants to enjoy some soup and shelter, but our hero tells him to shut up. This argument makes Ayuya laugh out of instinct, but then Shai decides to act high and mighty by mentioning his plans for world domination. He says he's got noble intentions, but Dao Ma strikes him down and tells Zai Kai not to talk to Shai, otherwise he'll get infected with his stupidity. At this very moment, a carriage approaches the team, and Zai calls out to them for comfort. However, Dao stops him and spots some prisoners inside the carriage. His suspicions come to be true as we see a girl trying to seduce her captor for her freedom. She tries long and hard, but it's of no use. Suddenly, some tribal folks attack the carriage and bring down everyone. These people are shown to be cannibals, and they start chanting their rituals for sacrifice. The girl and her captor survive the ordeal, and then they attack the cannibals, but there are too many of them to handle. The girl is still kept chained like a slave, so it makes movement difficult for them. Shai tells everyone about the tribals and their ways, so Ayuya wants to help them. However, Dao Ma says he needs to strike a deal before extending any assistance. He charges towards the captor and his slave girl, who are still struggling against the tribals. Our hero starts dominating and asks the captor to make a deal wherein he gives his carriage and Dao Ma gives his horses. However, the captor attacks him because he has no intentions of doing so. Dao Ma is impressed by the man's determination, but he also realizes that his blade won't be able to kill more than 5 people after this. He points it out to the captor and taunts him as well. However, the captor still decides to take his chances, much to everyone's surprise. Regardless, the captor carries on and does whatever he can. He starts to struggle, so the slave girl agrees to Dao Ma's demands. This gives him the license to kill, and he destroys the tribal gang in a matter of minutes. After the drama, everyone gets to know each other, and the slave girl reveals her name to be Yan. She is impressed by Dao Ma's skills, so she acts seductive with him, which is something that Ayuya doesn't like. Anyway, Dao Ma gets the captor to free Yan, and then he also learns that his name is Shu. After making all the formal talk, the team gets to work and heads towards Chang. Now, we see Shu, who wants to meet a man named Lisi, but is mocked by some men. He shows off his impressive skills while striking them down, and demands to meet Lisi. Shu is about to get serious, but then he's invited into a boat which has Lassie in it. The men get down to talking, and this is when Lassie gets to know Shu's background. He isn't interested in someone without a last name, but Shu makes the deal more tempting by offering 70% of his bounties to him. This tempts the old man to hire Shu, and then he explains the situation with Yan, whom he wants Shu to bring back. This was all a flashback, and we're now back to the present, but Shu remembers what Lassie told him about Yan being sly. She mentions the bounty on Dao Ma's head, and it makes Ayuya wary, so he demands to have Yan fired up again. However, Shu denies this request because he doesn't want to get involved in anything extra. Meanwhile, the 5 families of the kingdom have a word with some of their team members, and one of the generals mentions taking Ayuya hostage. Now, we see the busy kingdom and all its people, while Pei looks down upon them as the new master appointed by the king himself. Commander Yan has a word with Pei regarding his tactics and methods, but Pei reveals his true nature by saying Zhai is just bait for a bigger plan. He tells Yan to take it easy for now, and then he goes to meet the families we just saw earlier. It turns out that Pei wants to keep these families under his control, so he offers each of them 500 gold silks. This is a lot for them, and they start celebrating, but then we see that Mo is also there, and he rightfully calls out Pei for his shady tactics. Pei admits that he's trying to buy loyalty from the families and says that they will get a lot of benefits if they continue to show their support to him and Yang. Mo isn't keen on this, and even refuses to drink the tea offered to him. Mo goes back and tells his people about what just happened and tells them to leave because the other families will be coming for them. Mo's men want to fight with him, but he says that everyone should go back to their wives and children for a happy and safe future. A few soldiers stay back because they have nowhere else to go, and Mo waits for the inevitable. General He shows up and goes straight to Mo. That's when we learn that he has a crush on Ayuya and wants to take her as his wife. We also see a flashback which shows him getting this news from a fortune teller, and it got his hopes up. However, Mo openly tells him that Ayuya will never become his wife, so it makes him upset. Later, our heroes come back to the village but find He and his men there. Ayuya is confused when He says she's going to marry him today, and it only gets worse when he has one of his men reveals that he has chopped off Mo's head. We go back to the past once again, where we see Mo making a sacrifice for Ayuya to ride the horse while he walks on the ground. She doesn't like this, but then we learn that they are trying to escape from a marriage offered by He. Ayuya doesn't want Mo to suffer, but he says that He cannot be trusted as he had strangled his own father. He doesn't want his daughter to be with such a man, so he is ready to make whatever sacrifices are needed to keep her safe. We're back to the present now, and Ayuya is clearly upset. He sends his main fighter to take Ayuya, but Dao Ma charges at him and brutally slashes him despite his massive size. The fighter wakes up once again for a sneak attack, but Dao Ma is in rage mode, so he chops off his head and throws it back to He. Meanwhile, Pei tells Yan that his plan is working well because, with Mo gone, he can start taking over the other families as well. Yan doesn't like his methods, but is told to be courageous if he wants to survive the merciless world of war. Next up to fight Dao Ma is Yuji, who is a much better warrior than the previous one. Our hero kicks off an intense sequence against him, but Yuji is shown to be extremely overpowered. Things aren't looking good for Dao Ma as he gets attacked on all fronts and everyone starts to worry for him. However, it does look like he has something up his sleeve. What happens next? Like, share, and subscribe to find out in my next video.